here to tell us.
So
From the reptiles.
no good can come from it.
No one likes us.
We are here today with my brother from down in San Diego, who's actually from a little further away than that originally. My brother Tomo. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thank you for asking. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I haven't had a beer since I haven't had a drink since I left your house. Uh, so it's been a minute. So cheers, brother.
Staunch.
So I brought in Tomo because Tomo's a skinhead from Dublin, and I wanted to kind of get some different perspectives. After Tomo, we recently did I think you heard it. We did the whole skinhead episode where we explained the culture and its roots and all that.
hmm
So I wanted to bring in some folks to kind of explain this culture from a different perspective, and tell their own story as well. So when is it? When did you come to the States? How old were you as well?
Uh, 27, 27, I believe I was, and it was
Yeah.
2007.
The first time you came?
No, so first time was 2001, and fuck, I was early 20s, so we're back there, 20, 20, 20,
Yeah.
26, 21, whatever.
So you moved here in 2007, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but I had a
I,
vacation 2001, vacation 2007, and then moved over in 2007.
right on. Okay, so while we're on that, can you tell me a little bit about the immigration process that you had to go through coming from Ireland?
So what I did, I pulled a fast one. I was on a 3 month visa, and I ended up staying here. I stayed past me 3 month visa, and when I went through my whole immigration process, I had to basically put my hands up and said I broke the law. Had to pay an extra fee on top of that, um, on top of all the immigration fees. But I was done, and it was never spoken of again. I've spoken to other people that had to do that shit. People that don't have the same complexion as me, and it wasn't so easy for them.
Absolutely. I hear, yeah, but it's not the first time I've heard of someone from Canada, England, Ireland, so on and so forth. They go in, like you said, hands in the air. Hey, my bad. I've been here a little longer than I was fucking supposed to.
Here's the deal. I didn't know that either. I'm like, fucking, I wasn't fucking, didn't know how to stay that anything. The immigration person I dealt with, she said, if you could tell me everything, like, because if you're coming at them, you gotta fucking tell them everything you've done, you know?
Hmm.
Where if I'd have tried to do that my shit myself, I probably wouldn't have been as forthcoming, you know, and would have got fucking kicked out of the country.
Right. Of course. Yeah, no, that's kind of a fucking trait amongst people of our ilk, keeping things guarded. So you and you were so you were around you were in Dublin clear through all the 80s when things were really rough.
Yeah.
How did that affect being in Dublin? How did that affect you, your family, the troubles, as it were?
So the troubles is mostly up in the north, and you did have some. You had the Dublin and Monaghan bombings. Um, didn't affect my family or anyone I knew, but there was people in Dublin that were definitely affected by that shit, and then also in Monaghan, uh, didn't know anyone up there, so wasn't really affected by it personally, but as a country, are definitely affected by it, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Um, as far as the troubles as a whole, it didn't really come south that far. It came south politically, never
Hmm.
physically, you know. Too much. You'd have a lot of operations down the south that would send stuff north and everything whatnot, but never had any kind of attacks down the south.
Sure.
Um,
So it didn't make it to your front door.
no,
That's
but
good.
in saying that, anytime you did go north, it was always interesting. You always had to be very careful what you were wearing. I remember one time I was going up there with an old boss of mine to buy some printing equipment. We left the house about 4 in the morning. I wasn't watching what was putting on, you know, and we're leaving it was a place called Ross Trevor. It was just Union Jacks everywhere,
Oh yeah.
and I had the collar out of this like 2000 or whatever Celtic jersey, and it's a luminous green.
Yeah.
Bus pulls up beside us, and all these fellas are just banging on the fucking window and screaming at us. I'm like, what the fuck is their problem? And I'm like, oh fuck, you
You
know.
wore it was a Celtic FC jersey?
Celtic FC, yeah,
Yeah.
the boys were fucking foaming at the mouth.
Oh, bet.
Oh
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
we couldn't get out of there quick enough, you know. But
Yeah, I bet. It's clearly you made it out alive, so that's good.
yeah, sure. Like up until like 2007, there, I was stayed in a friend's house up there in Belfast, and he told me, he's like, don't open your mouth until you get past a certain point. Like, keep your mouth shut because of the Dublin accent.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. They hear that you're from down south and they're not having that shit.
Nah,
I got you. That
you
makes
haven't
sense.
hit to me for fucking lunch.
So when did you was there I like to ask this of just about everybody. Was there a specific thing, a song, a record, moment in time that got you involved in punk rock, the skinhead culture, or both as a whole, one or the other, whatever? Is there any particular moment that stands out that got you into this culture?
Yes, it was. I got into the whole kind of culture through the scooter rally scene in Ireland, and it was bad manners. It was lip up fatty.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I was under the influence of several fucking things, you know, and I just kind of walked into this. I'd heard of skinheads, but I didn't know what the story was fully at all, you know, from what I'd seen on TV or whatever. I didn't know they were into ska music or reggae at all. I had no idea. And then I'd been at the scooter rally all weekend, and then I walk into this event this night, and that song's on, and it's just fucking massive, small, fucking all shapes and smaller skinhead, just fucking having a great time, you know, jamming to that song, and then the whole night was just all reggae, soul, and fucking madness, you know. I don't
Hmm.
mean a band; it was just pure madness,
Right, right, right.
and I kind of just fell in love with it there and then, you know.
I've been doing it ever since. When was this?
It was 2000. I was 19.
Okay, right
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
That's a great one. Most people, it seems around here, start with punk rock and then
yeah.
go down that road. You kind of had a little bit of a different road. That's pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, like up until then, I was like mainly into like into rap and reggae.
Mhm.
I did definitely fuck with some punk rock, but it definitely would have been more kind of mainstream shit, you know.
Sure, sure.
Um, I just had no
Um,
exposure to a lot of the other stuff until I kind of got into me it hit until I kind of hit the scooter scene, and I was put into like contact with certain people that were, you know, were exposing me to it.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. So, speaking of that, since you got into it around that time, what was the Dublin skinhead scene like back then? And is it a lot different when you go? I know you go back from time to time. Is it different? A lot different now? Is it about the same?
It seems pretty small when I was kind of doing it. Like me and my mate were at the rallies, and we just were like, we're like, this is for us, man. We both went home and shaved their own fucking heads, and
There you go.
fucking we got it wrong for a long time with the style and the dress. We looked like two fucking arseholes, but that's we just kind of agreed that's who we were, you know.
Sure.
Um, but sorry, I went to losing my train of thought there. What was had a point
No,
there?
no. So what I was wondering is it was small back then, you said,
Well,
but
anyway, yeah. So I went back there in 2012, and I went to a madness show, and it was just fucking young skinheads everywhere. It was insane. I couldn't believe it, and they were all like just fucking dressed like to a T. And then there
yeah,
was a bunch of young mods there as well. I was like, what the fuck? This is just mental. Because I
that's
was just
great.
used to seeing all the older dudes at the scooter rallies, and then all these young fucking kids who were just like look like they just walked off a fucking movie set, some movie. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So the mod culture, I don't have any real heat with. I just don't get it how it's still around. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know why. It's like
It's kind of different over there.
Yeah,
it's kind of gang related over there in some way. A lot of the the older mods used to be in gangs back in the day.
sure.
So you know, it's I suppose it's like the car clubs with the, you know, the scooter clubs and shit like that. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of goes along with that whole casual style, you know.
like a lot of them aren't active, but they'll probably get down at any fucking moment. You know,
Oh, 100%,
yeah,
100%.
like
So, speaking of roving gangs, did you deal with were you involved in, if you can talk about it, or did you witness a fair amount of like soccer hooliganism out there?
very small amount, um, very small amount in Ireland, but
Is that more in English culture?
it is, but it's kind of like a lot of stuff kicked off since I've been out of the country. A lot of things have kicked off there. Kind of keeping up with the fucking Joneses kind of situation, you know. It's just it's like the lads over here, like, oh well, fuck that, we're gonna do that too.
Yeah, right.
I think that's kind of what happens. And to be honest, I haven't really looked too much into it, so I don't know what the story is with it. But
Okay.
I do like I've kind of know a couple of guys that have had to get the fuck out of England, and they have kind of retired somewhat in Ireland, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
From being in firms out in England, they
In
had.
firms, and then
Yeah,
things getting too kind of heavy, you know.
absolutely, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't talk about them specifically, but
No,
um, are there? Let's see. I was gonna ask you
but
something
like
else. What's that?
they kind of like moving to Ireland was kind of a wise choice for them as well.
Yeah, okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Of course. I mean, it's not too terribly far from home, but it's far enough away to stay out of trouble on a daily basis.
The two boys I know, like, it completely just changed them, calmed them down, you know, as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are there, I was going to actually ask you another thing about music. When I was over at your spot, we were talking about some Irish rappers and things like that. Is there any bands, punk rock, hip hop, or otherwise, that people should know about that are going on in Ireland right now that maybe people aren't hip to and should be in hip hop or anything or punk rock, anything?
Yeah, for sure. In hip hop, you've got a guy called Nuisance. That's NU, and then it's Sense CENTZ.
Right.
Um, and you got another group called Class A's. Like probably a bunch of like the best rappers in Ireland in that group right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you search out from those guys, Class A's, it's gonna be good. Um, Ska wise, there's just loads of ska out there in Ireland. You've got like the Hacklers, really good band.
Yeah.
The Bionic Rats, they're from Dublin. They're fantastic as well.
I'm not
Um,
hip to that either.
yeah, they're really good. You've got a Intersgalactic. That's like a 12 or 13 piece band, like the Scatlites or something like that. You know,
Wow.
more kind of college kids kind of thing, but they're very good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now I'm gonna try. I always fuck this name up. They're called the Scatuesques.
Okay.
I gotta. Let me
Statuesque. You
back
mentioned
there.
them to me one time.
But that's all girl ska band. They do covers, have the original stuff as well, and they're pretty good.
Okay.
Um, I'm forgetting loads of bands.
No,
Punk, yeah, there's loads of good punk bands out there. Blood or Whiskey, if you like Irish kind of traditional stuff, and um, you know, Dropkick Murphys and stuff like that isn't doing it for you anymore. Blood or Whiskey are a great band.
yeah, I'm a mark. I like Blood and Whiskey quite a bit.
Like a harder Pogues, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Great fucking bands.
Um,
Um,
then at Oi, you got like Takers and Users.
yeah, they're
Um,
great.
you got the Jollers, they're really good. Um, you got a band called No Collusion. They're a punk band, three piece. They're young guys. I'd say they're in their early 20s. Uh, they're really good. Um, fucking my mind's gone blank,
That's
brother.
all right. That's plenty. That's a lot for people to go on. And I honestly, I probably only heard of a third of those. So I'm super excited. I could check a bunch of these out too. Um, you also do this production company. Clearly, you're not doing much right now, but Sham 619.
Yes,
That's you and Lux, right?
that's Lux and
And
myself. Yeah.
Baba.
Uh,
Um,
somewhat, but like, yeah, it's usually me and Lux doing stuff, and then Bobby just
Right.
saying, okay, you know.
So, do you guys have plans anytime? I mean, are you just waiting to kind of get the okay on live
We're
stuff?
waiting to see what's up at the bars and kind of not making any plans until we see what's up from there, you know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Because you
Um,
know, if we're not getting a drop of numbers, I don't see the bar staying open, and so till we see some sort of a path forward, there's no point in talking to anyone.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
We'd
Yeah, I
love
think
to, but
yeah, everyone seems to be on the same level. Promoters and bands are all just like, we can't do shit. It just is what it is right now. You have any memorable shows that really stand out that you've put on in recent
yeah,
years?
yeah. I think the best show. Well, I got two of them.
All
The
right.
first show I put on was Dug in the Slugs,
Mm-hmm.
and Dug in the Slugs is kind of the inspiration for me to kind of get Sham at 619 kind of going off the ground because I've been kind of hemming and hawing about it for a while, you know. And then I saw Dug in the Slugs by chance in Long Beach, and that was just like a fucking kick up the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were the first band I booked, and then that show was just fucking. It was deadly. It was great, you know. At Dug in the Slugs, it was midnight track, and it was Rat City Riot. It was in the Tower Bar. Place was packed. It was
I
fantastic.
believe it.
Yeah. And then the kind of second memorable show was Lions Law. It was Antagonizers, Rude Pride,
Mm-hmm.
Rat City Riot, Slaughter Boys, Midnight Track, and everyone hung out at the house here first. Like Lux's lady Penelope, she cooked up a storm. Like
Yeah,
everyone was fed, everyone was full of drink, you know, all sorts of stuff. The
that's a
crack was
fantastic.
ninety, yeah, it was brilliant. And then
That's a
you
sorry. Go
roll,
ahead.
sorry mate, rolling into a show with that kind of attitude and atmosphere, it just made for a great night, you know.
Yeah, a million percent. I was gonna say that's a band that everyone needs to know about is the Slaughter Boys. Those guys
Oh yeah,
fucking rule. Those guys are
they're
so goddamn good.
they're completely underrated.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I've got a couple more for you. And anything if you want to touch on, please let me know. I've been told about this story, but have not heard it yet. I was specifically told by the Ian, ask Tomo about the golf course story.
That brings us back to the scooter rally scene.
Okay.
Um, so it was actually my first rally. I was 19, and this rally was pretty much on a golf course, and you had the bar and a couple of toilets, and you
All
know.
right.
So we pretty much had the whole car park full of Vespas, Lambrettas, and a couple of scooters, and then the fields behind it are full of tents the whole weekend. We had a couple of bonfires going, stuff like that. But that night, I see a fucking Harley outside, and fucking I says to someone, I says, "I'm gonna take a shit in that golf hole, and I'm gonna take a shit in that Harley." And his mate says, "Don't take a shit in that Harley. That's not a good idea. Do what you want with the fucking golf hole." So about 9 o'clock, I fucking went and I got some fucking toilet paper and I fucking strolled over to the 18th hole, fucking dropped the fucking turd into it, wiped my ass, and put the paper in there. And next morning, we're all chilling around the fire. And these two fucking old codgers come down onto the green, and your man fucking sinks his butt. He drops his hand in to get the ball, and there's just fucking paper stuck to his hands. And he starts fucking flipping out and throwing the ball everywhere. And we all start cheering then. Yeah,
Fantastic. That's first rate hooliganing.
yeah.
All right.
That was my first scooter rally.
That's a fucking great way to fucking cement that into memories.
Yeah.
So I know you're hip to the podcast a little bit. I was gonna do some rapid fire verses with you real quick. Normally I just do one, but I wanted to do three with you. So uh, basically, you know how verses works, right? We're basically doing what's better. So chieftains, Clancy's,
Clancy's.
1,000%. You're absolutely right. Stiff Little Fingers, The Clash.
They're too hard to do that to.
That one's hard, I know.
They both they're both revolutionary kind of bands, and they're hard to kind of pick apart like that. Um, I hate you for that question.
A lot of people do. A lot of people have gotten upset with me for this one.
Let me go with the Clash.
I agree. I'm going to tell you why. Um, I because almost impossible to choose. However, I feel like the Clash influenced the Stiff Little Fingers so heavily, they wouldn't be what and who they are without them. So you don't have one without the other type of thing. But there would be a Clash without the Stiff Little Fingers. That's all I'm saying. I can't say a bad word about SLF though. They're fucking phenomenal.
No. Well, also, the Clash are definitely more influential around the world than Stiff Little Fingers are as well, you know?
Of course they are. Of course they are. I mean, they influence countless people. There's how many bands have said, "Oh, I was just doing whatever, and then I went to a Clash show, and then I started the fucking Damned."
Who else gets a mention of Bob Marley in a song?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Um, Punky Reggae Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's Punky Reggae Party. All right, my last one. I was thinking about this one this morning. I got to check it out there. Johnny McEldew or the Little Beggar Man?
The Little Beggar Man.
Really? Why is that? You got to tell me because I'd go Johnny McEldew all day.
Um, well, you got the story of the Beggar Man, so I just like familiarize with it. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hip
Um,
to the story that the Clancys tell. I have the record where they tell the story about the Little Beggar Man talking to the British officer, asking him for some money or something like that. On the record, that's the only background I have of the Beggar Man. To be honest with you, are you hip to what I'm talking about?
yeah, I am. But also that old Beggar Man goes back to an old story, like I don't know, fucking before Jesus. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Man, yeah. And it's basically you've got a guy and this is a myth, so I'm not saying this is true. So
I got.
you've got a guy he's basically hiding who he is, and he's dressed up as an old beggar man, and he ends up challenging people to races and all sorts of shit, because he gets underestimated because he's just an old beggar man. But he's able to do all sorts of amazing feats, and
Okay.
then when you basically he saves the honor of Leinster pretty much, and then once the arseholes have been vanquished, he kind of reveals his true form to everyone else, of who he is, and he's not an old beggar man at all. He's kind of like a demigod or somewhat.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to go back and reread the lyrics to that song. God damn it.
So that's not what that song's about.
See, that's what I was on about.
Yeah.
Was the song versus song.
Yeah.
But okay.
But the reason I've got like a familiarization with the song because of that. You know what I mean?
I understand. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything you would like to tell anybody out in the world at all about anything ever?
Um. Fuck. It doesn't take a lot not to be a cunt. It just respect everyone that you can. Like, not everyone deserves your respect, but sometimes it's better to just give people the benefit of the doubt. Presume they're not an arsehole,
Hmm.
um, because most people are, but some people aren't, and we all have a habit of fucking just assuming the worst,
Hmm.
lately these days. So I think calm heads prevail. Um, just keep your family safe. Fucking be sensible. It's all really.
Yeah, don't be a dick. There you
Yeah.
go. Oh, you know what I told you I was gonna tell you this earlier. I fucking forgot. Was I went back. I talked to Dingo this morning, and I went back and saw this video. I was like, wait a minute. He mentioned it. I'm like, oh shit. And I went back and looked at it. It's the video, probably 2 feet from where you're sat right now, of him drinking Buckfast for the
Oh
first time.
shit!
It's the fucking funniest video ever. But Can you explain to me? Do you drink that? You drink that shit fairly regularly, don't you?
Whenever I
I,
can get it, yeah.
I don't understand. What is the appeal of Buckfast on a personal level? What is that? It's like it's like
It's
caffeinated wine with. It's not good, man.
I have to say, I think it's you either have to be a skinhead from Ireland or like fucking the UK, or you have to be homeless to understand it.
It's. I've always said the only thing I could compare it to is like Night Train or Thunderbird or something like that.
It's
That's what
like
it reminds me
hot
of.
syrup with loads of alcohol in it,
Yeah, man, that's a great way to put it. It's sweeter than that though. Like
and
it's
then
too
and then throw in a possible criminal record in there on top of it.
perfect. Exactly right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
All right, my brother. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Um,
you, Ryan. Yeah,
yeah, I'll hopefully I'll get back down there again soon. So we didn't get to hang out enough when I was down there.
my
You
my
take
wife
care of
said
yourself, brother.
thank you because usually I'm bullshitting in her ear, so you took 30 minutes off her hands.
Tell her I said you're welcome. Love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Likewise, love you too, bro. Take
All
care.
right, later.